Hello there, my RPG lovers, and welcome to another video. About a year and a half ago, I made a video about the upcoming RPG that was called Grey Shaft, and you guys had a lot to say about the name of that game. Well, meanwhile, that game was renamed to Of Ash and Steel, and it's been in development for quite some time now. We started seeing some brand new trailers for the game, like 4 months ago or something like that. IGN did a preview video for this game, and we also got some brand new info about the world, the gameplay, and everything about the game in general. So, what kind of a game is Of Ash and Steel? Well, it's an upcoming open-world action RPG, heavily inspired by games like Gothic and even The Witcher. Fire and Frost, the studio behind this game, has put a big emphasis on immersion as well, which is kinda logical if you think about it, because games like Gothic and Witcher were heavily related to immersion in general, especially Gothic games with, deep AI systems like AI schedule, and this game also has something like that according to developers. But in this video I want to focus on some of the questions I got to ask one of the developers, and I got some exclusive info about the gameplay features and the game in general. So we're going to talk about the questions and the answer they gave me. I got to ask 10 questions, and I was really caught off guard how in-depth some of these answers were about the game, because I thought they're going to be a bit more generic, because we don't have a lot of info about this game in general, besides a couple of trailers and some dev diary videos, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to show you all the questions I got to ask and all the answers they gave me, along with some gameplay footage in the background, and I'm going to give you my thoughts about some of these questions, along with some extra info from the Steam developer updates and stuff like that, so stick around for that. But before we start with the questions, I want to give a huge shout out to my channel actually, because I'm getting really close to 100k subscribers, and it will mean a lot to me if you subscribe right now if you haven't already. Now let's begin with the first question I got to ask. How would you describe Of Ash and Steel in a couple of sentences? To put it very briefly, it's our dream RPG, where immersion in the living world is no less important than classic RPG things like learning skills and completing quests. Which game or RPGs/genres was your biggest inspiration, if any? I think a lot of people have already noticed that we are big fans of RPGs from the golden era of 2000s, especially the Gothic series, but we also realize what makes modern games more convenient and enjoyable. In our community, we usually refer to Of Ash and Steel as the favorite child of Gothic and The Witcher. I think it will be very interesting to see how much Gothic and The Witcher influenced this game. This can mean a lot of things, but if you played Gothic games, you know exactly what to expect from a Gothic-like RPG. One of the major features to achieve this feeling is having a deeper AI system with NPC schedules. I'm not sure if this game will have full NPC schedules like Gothic, but from one of their updates on Steam, I managed to find this. NPCs will go to sleep at night, and you can use that opportunity to rob their house. So we'll have at least some sort of AI schedules, but it's yet to be seen how deep it's going to be. And there was another questions and answers post related to some Gothic-like features. You'll need to find teachers in order to learn new skills when you meet attribute requirements. And what's possibly the most interesting part related to this topic is the quest system. We'll be able to see the current objectives on the screen, but they are meant as reminders. The game will not tell you where to go and what to do, so I'm guessing quest markers are definitely not in the game. This is one of those features which can turn out to be great for exploration if done properly, but very annoying if the whole game is not designed around this philosophy. Anyway, to continue my own questions and answers with the devs, I asked the next question. Can we expect some meaningful choices and consequences that will impact the story and/or gameplay? Definitely. Some locations change depending on the hero's action, and some can be completely destroyed. The same goes for the fate of the characters. Now, this is an interesting answer, and I'm not really sure what they mean by completely destroyed. At first I thought they're talking about some destructible environment that's going to be in the game, but I think the most likely scenario is some heavily scripted events where some locations are going to be destroyed. I don't know. How many different playstyles would you say the game can offer to the player? If we are talking about the gameplay part, there are tons of options. We have free character development, so you can be both a classic knight blacksmith and a dexterous owner of a rapier and dagger. And if you dive deeper into the builds, you can create unique combinations like a light warrior with two-handed weapon and a high chance of critical damage, but low health to smash everyone around in a deadly whirlwind. At the same time, nothing prevents you from adding various crafting bonuses to your build, like sharpening weapons or strengthening armor. From a story point of view, you will have to make decisions that will affect the lives of many on the island, and some quests will require a deep dive into the essence of the conflict to achieve the best results. Judging from this answer, it seems like we're going to have plenty of unique playstyles. I'm just wondering how different they're going to feel. It seems like the game is going to be very flexible in terms of what weapons you can equip and combine. However, the attribute requirements is going to be a thing like I mentioned before, so that's a limiting factor for sure. Oh, and by the way, this pretty much confirms the spin to win ability. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely going for that build. As for the story part, once again, I think they're talking about some heavily scripted events which can happen when you finish an important quest. I would be pleasantly surprised if these major decisions you can make in the game are a bit more dynamic from the gameplay side of things, but I have no idea what I'm talking about. We'll have to wait and see. My next question was, how much freedom does the player has when exploring the world of Ash and Steel? They responded with, total freedom. You can go wherever you want, whenever you want, but be careful, we have no auto leveling, so dangerous opponents will quickly knock the daring adventurer off his feet. At the same time in the world, in addition to characters and their history with quests, we have a huge amount of hidden treasures and tombs that can only be found by a careful player. How about a door that only opens when the hero is hella drunk? Or the treasure of the lobster, who writes the clues in a snarky language? The treasure hidden behind the waterfall, we got all of that. In addition, we added a lot of different random events to the world, from small adventures to different funny situations, like a hater who condemns your every action during the game. I think by quote-unquote auto-leveling, they meant no level scaling. Just a reminder that English is not the native language of these devs, so some of these answers might seem a bit off. If this is actually the case and the game doesn't have any level scaling, that would be another Gothic-like feature, I would say. It's part of the old school level design that not a lot of modern RPGs prefer nowadays, sadly. As for the quests, it seems like they're on the right track. I also found out that the world map is going to have 7 different islands, and apparently they're connected somehow. I'm going to assume that there is a loading screen between them because I can't remember seeing any naval gameplay, but I might be wrong. I personally prefer 1 or 2 bigger maps in games like this. I'm getting Reason 2 PTSD while watching this map with islands, and I just hope it won't be anything like that. The exploration sucked in Reason 2, but anyway, on to the next question. Tell us something about the side quests and optional content in general. Some of it I mentioned earlier, the stuff about exploring the world. In addition, the hero can join one of the sub-factions, bounty hunters, gravediggers and smugglers. Each organization competes with each other and sometimes their interests can overlap. At the end of the sub-faction storyline, you can get a reward unique in the whole game, like a riding boar. If you enjoy battles, welcome to the Grey Shaft Arena. I guess they're not completely giving up on that name, are they? It's not just a set of opponents to defeat, but a whole game within a game where you can choose modifiers for each fight, various random effects, like an angry mob that will throw bottles at the tournament participants, choose a title how you enter the arena, and of course you can get unique rewards. And yes, it can be completed by fighting 3 arena bosses when your reputation level reaches the required level. We also have another cool activity, Renta, which is all about the fist combat, CCG and tactics. We'll be sure to tell you about that a little later. I don't think I've named half of the interesting things you can do in the world, like buying and furnishing your own house, or fishing, or camping, but that will be the 1 hour answer. This was a very interesting answer. So, we're getting various factions in the game that the player can join, and I'm guessing they're going to have quest lines as well. They mentioned riding a boar as one of the rewards, and we can actually see this in one of the updates on Steam. I'm not sure if this means we'll have mounts in the game, or this is just a unique ability that's going to be on cooldown or something. As for the arena, I think I saw this even back when I did the first video. I mean, everyone loved arena in Gothic games, and this one seems to be much deeper in general, because it's not just about fighting. So far, this game seems really ambitious for a smaller studio, judging from all the promised features. Speaking of which, I had no idea we were going to have a full housing system in the game. If they actually manage to deliver all of these features and they turn out to be fun, this will be a great RPG. Anyway, on to the next question. What about professions like smithing, alchemy, etc.? Tell us something about that. For those who like to craft things, we have a lot of different recipes, equipment, upgrades, and at some point, the ability to create your own sword, picking up all of the parts, including various accessories, and then even strengthening it with rare weapons. All the crafting is divided into several categories: weapons, survival, cooking, alchemy, camping, magic items, and enhancements. The latter allows you to sharpen your sword and get a permanent damage bonus, or strengthen your armor and get permanent defense bonus. Most actions require various resources that can either be bought or obtained by yourself, mining ore, taking trophies from animals, or finding them in the world. If you're planning to create an ultimate fighter, crafting is definitely something to look into. Plus, it pays well, and gold is the cornerstone of solving a lot of problems. Once again, a great answer to the question. It seems like Of Ash and Steel will have a pretty deep crafting system, like you would expect in an RPG of this type. Of Ash and Steel will have some light survival elements, as you could tell from the answer to my question. I managed to find this from another questions and answer session, and they said the following. At the start, you'll need to monitor hunger, thirst, and fatigue, but over time, these stats will grow. At that point, survival mechanics will feel more like an opportunity to buff your character before a tough fight. Approximately, how long will it take to beat the game? We haven't directly measured it, but it feels about 30 to 40 hours for a relaxed playthrough and about 100 plus hours for a, I guess he meant completionist playthrough here. If this turns out to be true, that's a pretty long RPG. I had a follow-up question about the replay value, which I consider to be even more important than the length of the game. Can we expect a strong replay value? Sure, consider it's highly likely you'll only find half of the content in the game on the first playthrough. Plus, of course, you'll probably want to try out different factions and sub-faction on a repeat playthrough. And if you're talking about different builds and different outcomes of the storylines, even more. And the last question I got to ask is, what is the most unique thing about the game in your opinion? I think it's our approach to game design, where the best of what we loved about RPGs from 2000s lives in symbiosis with the convenience of modern games. And of course, we still have our hearts on fire. Just a few years ago, we were just big fans of RPGs, and now we put all of our accumulated love for them into the game we make. I don't know about you, but I can never get enough of RPGs that are even slightly inspired by the Gothic series, so this is just music to my ears. I would say the biggest concern of mine is the combat system. It looks okay at best from these clips at least, but I don't know, I'll have to wait and see and try it out for myself. It definitely looks janky as well, but let's wait and see how it turns out when the final game gets released. We still don't have a release date, but I'll keep my eye on this game and make more videos about it in the future, so stick around for that. I'm really looking forward to Of Ash and Steel, and I'm going to cover all the future major updates, so stick around if you want to see that. We are starting to see more and more RPGs which are inspired by Gothic, and of course I'm going to cover those games on the channel. I love Gothic series, I pretty much build my whole channel around those games, so yeah, I'm going to cover these games in the future as well, so just keep them coming, I guess. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. And if you want to go a step further, consider supporting your boy by becoming a YouTube channel member or a Patreon. Huge thanks to all my current supporters, and I'll see ya in the next one.